After World War I, Germany was in a bad state. The Treaty of Versailles had really screwed them over, leading to a country of debt and humiliation. The punishments Germany were given were very severe, having them need to pay $33 billion and only allowing them to have 100,000 troops in their army. On top of these punishments, Germany also had to admit that they started World War I, which led to Germany hanging their heads in humiliation. These factors led to the beginning of Hitler's rise.
After the Great Depression, Hitler broke one of the treaty's rules. He made an army of 550,000 instead of the agreed 100,000. When France and Great Britain found about this, they warned Germany if there were to be any further aggression, there'd be a problem. This didn't stop Germany. They continued to violate the treaty. Hitler continued to bring Germany to a higher power. He built up their military and alliances, and by 1937, Germany was once again considered a world power. Hitler himself believed that France and Great Britain couldn't interfere with his plans, and in 1938, Hitler began to seek out an alliance with Austria, where he came from. This ended up being less of an alliance and more of a takeover, with Hitler threatening Austria's chancellor with invasion, leading him to giving power to Austrian Nazis. On the 13th of March 1938, Hitler officially added Austria to the German power. In September 1938, Hitler wanted to take Sudetenland, but because this land was part of Czechoslovakia, he would have to start a war. Because of the depression and the lack of funds and soldiers, most of the alliances with Czechoslovakia agreed to give Germany the land. After this, Hitler continued to expand his power. He moved to Bohemia and Moravia and took them both over.
Soon Europe realized Hitler's true intentions. Instead of trying to help Germany, Hitler wanted to take over Europe. France and Britain started taking measures to prevent this from happening. They saw the Soviet Union was a strong nation, strong enough to affect the power of Germany, so they started negotiating with Stalin. This, however, did nothing because Russia and Germany made a Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact, where Germany gave Russia control of eastern Poland and the Baltics area. In return, Russia would not attack Germany.
As Germany continued its expansion, other conflicts were happening in Asia. One September night in 1931, the Japanese blew up a section of the Manchurian Railway near Mukden. After this event, Japan officially started its campaign to expand. By September of the next year, Japan had completely taken over Manchuria and placed a puppet ruler. Protests of this event began to sprout up, leading to the League of Nations to begin investigating the Japanese. After Japan was investigated, they pulled out of the League of Nations and continued its expansion, leading to Mongolia and China. This expansion ended up leading to the U.S. The Japanese continued to demand to use illegal resources, but the U.S. denied the use. During the war, Hitler used a tactic known as Blitzkrieg, or Lightning War, which was when Germany used heavily armored vehicles to quickly win wars. They used this tactic especially in Poland, leading to Poland's surrender in 1939. Hitler continued to use this tactic against Denmark and Norway. When Germany attacked the Netherlands, Belgium, and France, they had a main assault through Luxembourg and the Ardennes Forest, where weaker defenses were placed. Soon Germany went to northern France. France had built a fortress/wall called the Maginot Line, where they were expecting Germany to attack through. But this, however, was not the case. Instead of going through the line, Germany went around and attacked France at the Belgian border. This ended up separating the Allied forces, having the French trapped while the British were stuck on the beaches of Dunkirk. After Germany had France sign an armistice which gave him 3/5 of France, Hitler began to look towards Britain. Hitler realized that to win a battle with Britain, he would have to take control of the air. Towards the beginning of August in 1940, Germany launched their Air Force, or Luftwaffe, to attack the British ships. This attack succeeded, having the planes bomb battleships, harbors, industries, air and naval bases, and communication centers. This, however, did not deter Britain, and they fought back with determination using newer technology such as radar that Germany didn't have. Hitler then set his air force for a recourse to begin bombing the British cities. This allowed Britain to rebuild their air force quickly and efficiently, and soon Britain launched a second attack, putting several dents in the German air force. Hitler soon after postponed his attack on Britain and moved on. On December 7th, 1941, the Japanese bombed the U.S. naval base in Hawaii called Pearl Harbor. In this attack, more than 3,500 U.S. soldiers died, along with 350 planes and 18 ships destroyed. On that same day, the Japanese attacked the Philippines and Malaya, and soon after they attacked the Dutch East Indies and several Pacific islands. While Japan was continuing its expansion, the U.S. began to unify and start its preparation to join in the war. When the U.S. joined the war, Britain, Russia, and the U.S. decided to set aside their political differences and take down the superpower that was Germany at the time. These three countries decided that they would fight the Axis power until they surrendered. When the US began to fight, the tides shifted in the favor of the Allied powers. In North Africa, the British had forced General Erwin Rommel's troops to surrender. Also, they had forced Germany and Italy to surrender. On the Eastern Front, Hitler's generals wanted him to focus on oil fields, but Hitler himself wanted to take Stalingrad on the Volga River. This ended with the Soviets launching a counterattack, leading to Germany's surrender. This was the end of Germany's Sixth Army, one of the most powerful armies. Because both World War I and World War II were total wars, civilian life was mainly geared towards helping the war effort. In Russia, people were desperate for food, ending up with 1.5 million in just Leningrad dying due to starvation. Jobs during the war went through the roof. Due to the mass productions of weaponry and vehicles, more people were needed to help. In the United States, the job situation was the same. People were needed to help out with the mass production. The one part of the United States civilian life that differed from other countries is that African Americans were employed more than ever during the war. More than 1 million black people were moved from north to south to help with the war effort. The Cold War was a time after World War II where Europe, Russia, Asia, and the US had begun to fight for nuclear power. This was when they began to start development for nukes.